Uh, so with this, I think I'll get started with the name Half Brick and with also my own life journey. And I think what has happened over the years is that my life journey has been kind of different in the sense that I got a lot of success on many things that I did. But what I realized over the years is it's failures that teach you a lot more than success. So initially, in fact, it was more success than failure. We belonged to, my father used to work in senior management in HAL, and we had a good environment at home, and that allowed me to do well. Typically, I was in the top 3 of the class as always during my school. I got selected at IIT Bombay, went and did my engineering from IIT Bombay. Even there I was kind of among the better students, and towards the end, out of about 250 odd students, we were about 10 people who got selected by Deloitte Consulting US, and I went there. Post that I did my MBA from Carnegie Mellon University, and what happens is when you have a sense of a certain momentum to success, it brings more success. That's what generally life is all about. I came back to India, established ISME. My father had already established NVT Quality Certification, and as a part of that I established ISME. Beyond ISME, there were many other groups that we established under NVT Group, but ISME was my first learning. I think a lot of things went right from someone who was absolutely zero in terms of other than education, in terms of having anything to do with a financial backing, was not really very strong to think of establishing a full-fledged college. But there is a big story around ISME itself, which I don't want to spend time on here, because the learnings of ISME are in bits and pieces. It's at different times. When I reflect back, there were many things I could have done differently. We have achieved a lot of success in the last 15 years, but it could have been a lot more. So there have been learnings, but I would say that that story will take a lot more time to explain. But I also ended up establishing other companies along with my brothers. Both of them had returned back from the US. One was NVT Quality Lifestyle, which again became a very successful real estate company in East Bangalore, and National Public School Whitefield, which is National Public School is a well-named name. In last 3 years we now have 2000 students. But with all this background of success, there have been certainly a lot of failures. As I told you, ISME itself is a continuous learning journey, but what I would like to concentrate on is a company which I established, and I just could not take it to something which I really felt it can become big. Now I named this company very similar to Half Brick. Bala does not know about this. I had named this company 100bricks.com. Now this company 100bricks.com I established around 2014 or 2015, and this was a company born with an idea that I felt that I am losing out on the e-commerce game. A lot of good players had already come in. Of course, the Amazon, Flipkarts and Mintras were there, but besides that, there was in various other product categories, there was Pepperfry and Urban Ladder and furniture, and there were in every product category you had something or the other. I had felt, and somehow entrepreneurship is something which I have always tried to do. I have many other things which I parallelly continue to do, but I felt that this is something that one should jump into. E-commerce is going to be big, and in 2014 I established 100bricks.com. It was a portal for building construction materials. Now I felt, and by that time we had already entered into real estate, we were already 4-5 years into real estate, so I had these connections with all possible suppliers for building construction materials. And when I did the business plan, I understood that there is a huge market, number one, that I don't think is very difficult to understand. Besides, the fact that there was no real big player in e-commerce for building construction materials, and my vision was that everything that goes into building a home should be there on that website. So, especially individuals or small time contractors don't have to run around to procure things, and everybody knows that building a house is not an easy thing, and to just get the supplies sourced is not very easy. So, the concept looked good, and I implemented it in such a way that each and every aspect of the building construction material was there, including the final finishes and the sanitary items and tiles and everything else you can think of. And at that point of time, today you can still get things on Amazon, a lot of the sanitary and other things you can get on. At that point of time, it was not available on Amazon, or there were very few brands on Amazon. So, as a idea, it looked good, it got implemented. Now, that is where the learning comes from. When we establish new businesses, one has to try to understand which is the customer you are seeking and what need you are fulfilling. And we did it for about 1.5 years, spent quite a bit of money, and somehow the traction was not there. One-off sale here and there, but nowhere at the scale at which we were imagining. I was thinking that this would be in very quick time, at least by gross merchandise value, something which is more than 100 crores, and it was something which was just not going through. In fact, a few lakhs is what we were achieving a course of a month, and which is just nothing in terms of the volume for building construction materials is concerned. Now, what happened? So, what we learned was we were actually serving no one. And that is one thing, when you establish a business, one has got to understand what is the need you are serving. Now, let us go through the thought process of how we arrived at the fact that when there is building industry happening everywhere, from villages to of course big apartments and big buildings, where is it that you are not serving anyone, and when the best possible materials and at the best possible prices are being provided. Now, this became a very good learning for me when I finally realized what was really happening. Now, what was happening was, now let us break down this customer profile into multiple segments. One customer profile is the big builders. Now, big builders in any case directly contract with the companies, and they directly get their suppliers, and that is how NVT has been doing it. That is how all the big builders do it. They are not really bothered about the retail outlet. They directly contact the companies and get. In any case, they are not big. Now, let us go with the smaller builders or the smaller contractors. Now, these contractors and smaller builders, in Indian conditions especially, even if they are not contracting with the companies directly, their biggest need is cash and credit. A lot of cash transactions happen, which obviously in the e-commerce world cannot happen, and they work a lot on credit. Now, that is why the Marwari shops around the corner work out much better for them, because they have a working arrangement of cash and credit, and it works out very well. We said, okay, the B2B profile does not seem to be something which we can target. Then let us see on B2C. Now, in B2C, there are, of course, even today, there are a lot of people building their own houses. Now, when they are building their own houses, once again, they are building it in two respects. One is, if they are building, they are either taking a small contractor, once again, indirectly it becomes a B2B, because they are really not taking decisions on material, especially if it is a material plus labor contract. So, once again, that is out. Now, if it is just a labor contract, then you end up having the end customer actually taking the decision. You are building your own house, and you are taking some labor to get your house done. That itself is a very big market, maybe little smaller in Bangalore, but if you go to secondary towns and other things, this is a huge market. to cover. But then once again what we discovered was even that end customer, he does not want a GST bill. So he is not interested to get that GST added to his bill. So he is more than happy to give someone cash to buy whatever he wants to buy, right? So what happens in Indian conditions, at that point of time it was VAT when I was actually dealing with this. What happens in Indian condition? There is something known as a VAT bill and a non-VAT bill. Now as an end customer, I don't benefit by having any VAT adjustments. I'll call it GST because now we are more comfortable with talking about GST, but the same tax was VAT at that point of time. So we are not comfortable of having any we are not bothered about GST adjustments. As an end customer, as long as I get my material, I pay cash, I get my material. Maybe I'll pay another 2 rupees more, but I'll tell the shopkeeper, don't add GST on my bill. I immediately save 18%, even if it's 100 rupees material. Normally it would be 118. I'll say no, forget it. I'll pay you 105. I'll give you cash, and you give me the material. So in one way, as an end customer, once again, I would not go to the website. I like to go and save money there. Now what will the shopkeeper do with that thing? Because he has to still show the sale. So what happens in Indian conditions is that there are people who actually buy only the bill. They don't buy the material. They are making a lot of profit in their books of accounts, and to show that profit, what they do, they'll pay that 18 rupees out here. In fact, then we realized, okay, building is not, let us do the interior space. A lot of people get their interior work done. Once again we realized that most of them are dependent on the carpenters and all the others, and these carpenters have a cut and a margin with the local suppliers. So once again they are not taking a decision on purchasing things as far as building construction material is concerned. While this was an expanded story, why I wanted to kind of convey the story is that to do a post-mortem of failure is very, very important. To understand why you failed, because then you learn, and it is something where beyond a point, if it was easy to understand why you fail, nobody would fail, right? It is only when, what is experience after all? When people say that I have grayed my hair through experience, it's a combination of very complex things happening for you to understand why you fail. In this case, the failure was related to understanding customer needs and where you are serving, but it could be anything else. It could be on any aspect, and in this case we are discussing about business failure. It could be your personal failure on many aspects, but in business failure it need not be only customers. It could be about your business process, it could be about the way you are delivering your thing, it could be even post purchase, it could be about competition, it could be about alternate products, it could be just so many things. But let's first understand that success often comes by accident. You don't even realize that somehow all the ducks have fallen together in one straight line. Many cases, yes, you might be doing it subconsciously, but you're not doing it consciously, right? But when failure hits, you suddenly feel, why did I fail? And to be able to analyze that failure requires you to really do a very hard level of post-mortem, and I would encourage you to do that, because that is the only way you will be able to start having a higher probability of success. Otherwise, just like me, initially a lot of success probably just did not happen because of me. It happened because I was in a certain environment which allowed me to succeed, and I really did not think about it too much. But then once you get into environments which kind of make you fail, it is ideal that you think about it, not to get depressed about it, but to learn from what could be a better way of doing it.
I hope that through this story I've been able to kind of convey that failure is something which should at one level be celebrated, because that is the only way for you to learn. Thank you very much.